before Christmas. I was hopes of posting it at Christmas, but I had some technical difficulties all Christmas break. You'll see there's a reindeer in the background. Don't judge me. As you can tell, my Christmas decorations are gone now, minus the little lights. These recipes are super good because I'm looking at consuming more conscientiously. As you could tell, as you know from last week's video, there's a lot of food in my pantry to eat. So one tip about consuming consciously is eating the food that you already have. So all I want is like comfort meals. I don't know about you, but I want comfort. These 3 recipes are so good, and you're gonna feel so like comforted and happy after eating them because we're still inside, we're not seeing people, we're being safe, and it's getting exhausting. So why not fill ourselves up with good food, right? Hello, my name is Hannah from Whole Foodie Challenge. I like to cook all things plant-based and have fun while doing so. Thank you for joining my channel. If you're new to this channel, I would really appreciate you hitting the thumbs up in the video box below and subscribing to my channel by hitting the little bell. You'll get notified when a new video comes out, and I launch a video once a week. If you're in a spot that's in lockdown or, just trying to stay inside as much as possible, hopefully these recipes will give you some comfort. My mom gave me these recipe packs in my stocking last year for Christmas. It's a local Indian food brand called Philip's Fine Foods, and she gave me some packages of spices, and then they come with recipes. So I will link the website below, and I love supporting local, so I'm really excited to try this. We've got coconut butter chickpeas, and then Aloo Gobhi. I made the Aloo Gobhi before, it's so good. It's a mixture of cauliflower, potato, tomato kind of stew, and then the coconut butter chickpeas is kind of like a coconut butter, like chicken, almost like a buttered chicken, but with chickpeas. So I'm really excited. I'm gonna make those. Make some cookies from the new Hot for Food pre-order. I pre-ordered her new cookbook, and it came out with some 10 dessert recipes that look absolutely amazing. I'm gonna make some maple cookies, and come with me, let's get started. So to get started, you're gonna prep all your vegetables. I start here with 1 large onion that obviously you peel and then dice into small cubes. I have this scraper that I absolutely love because you can pick up all the ingredients and bring them over to the stove without worrying about it spilling anywhere. And then you can also scrape things to the side of the cutting board to keep things separate. Now I'm dicing 3 to 4 cloves of garlic. Again, you want to mince these fairly fine. I love a lot of garlic. It says 3 to 4 cloves. I've used at least 4 cloves here. Next up, we're going to dice up the cauliflower, and I've already removed the stem on this, and you're just going to dice them again into bite-sized pieces. So I find if I slice it vertically and then kind of break up the florets, it works really well. And I really like using prep bowls again, just to make it easier when you're putting it into the stove, but this is an optional step, obviously. Now I'm going to dice the potatoes, and you can use yellow potatoes, russet potatoes. These potatoes I like because you don't necessarily need to peel them. And then again, you just want to dice into bite-sized pieces. I like to make the potato a little bit smaller than the cauliflower. I just find it cooks a little bit longer than the cauliflower, so that way you don't have mushy cauliflower and hard potato. Now we're gonna get to cooking. So I put a generous amount of olive oil in the pan, and you're just going to saute the onions until kind of translucent or starting to get a little bit brown. And at the same time, I'm going to start my rice. This is such a great meal because you can kind of make everything at the same time. So I'm just gonna I've got brown rice here, but I recommend basmati rice or brown basmati rice. So I'm making about 1.5 cups of rice and 3 cups of water. The onions are looking good. They're starting to brown. So I am just going to add the garlic now, just for a couple minutes. I've always found recipes that say like garlic and onion at the same time, it's not the greatest because the garlic really browns. So you just want to put the garlic in at the last minute until it gets kind of fragrant, and then you're going to add your potatoes. And just stir in between, making sure everything gets well incorporated. And then you're just going to put the lid on and let it just really cook. Get the potatoes to soften a little bit. In the meantime, I'm getting my recipe prepped for the coconut chickpeas. So it's also asking for an onion. So I'm just dicing it into bite-sized pieces. Now that the potatoes seem to be fairly cooked, I'm going to give them one last stir, and then I'm going to add my spices, the Aloo Gobhi spices, and the cauliflower. And then I'm using diced tomatoes here from a jar, but you can also use fresh tomatoes. So you're just going to stir to incorporate, and then you're going to add about a cup of water just to make sure that there's some liquid to cook. Give it a good stir, and then let it just do its thing while you make the other recipe. I keep it on medium to low heat. Ingredients here ready for the chickpeas. I've got some coconut milk, some green chickpeas, which I found at Costco. This is the spice. I also added some chili flakes to it, some tomato paste, my diced red onion, and some water. It's a pretty simple recipe, but I like getting everything ready to go so it's easy to put on the stove. So I'm just gonna add in a smaller frying pan some oil, and you can see I'm just stirring away the Aloo Gobhi at the same time. And again, just dice and fry your onions for several minutes, making sure you've got your hood vent on, because you'll start to tell that there's a lot of scents going on in the kitchen. It smells so good though. I'm just giving the Aloo Gobhi a stir every couple minutes just to make sure it's cooking really nicely. And now that the onions are cooked, I'm adding in the spices, the chickpeas, the water, and the tomato paste, and just stirring to incorporate. Guys, I wish you were here. It smells so good right now. So many flavors. I add a little sprinkle of salt. You kind of want to season to taste, so I'm going to let it cook for a bit and then add more salt if needed. And then you just add the coconut milk after a few minutes of stirring. And then, like the Aloo Gobhi, you're just going to let it simmer away. These dishes all came together at the same time after letting them simmer on the stove for about an hour. They smell so good, and look at the beautiful colors and flavors. I'm so excited to try these. So excited to fuel up. I should really put an apron on because this has a lot of turmeric in it and it will definitely stain. So I'm just gonna dish up some of my steamed brown basmati rice. And this will make like a week's worth of meal prep right here. I better call some friends over. I've allowed this to cool a little bit. So this is the coconut butter chickpeas. I kind of like it with the green, it's beautiful. And then this is Aloo Gobhi, which also looks incredible. I just love Indian cooking because of all the bright colors. The turmeric makes everything just so bright. If you had some like fresh parsley or cilantro would be really nice on here. And if you make a mistake, get a wet towel or cloth and you can just wipe. Okay, let me try. Get a little bit of everything in a bite. Oh wow, that is delightful. The Aloo Gobhi is just, it's tomatoey, it's bright, it's got this almost citrus taste to it. With tomatoes, it really brightens it, and the cauliflower is just, I let it cook for probably half an hour, 45 minutes, just let it simmer away, and then it got really soft. And then the chickpeas are super creamy. It's an amazing meal. So this is a recipe from Hot for Food from her latest ebook. They're called Maple Brown Sugar Cookies. I don't have a color printer, so it doesn't do it justice, but they look so good. I've preheated the oven to 350 degrees, and I'm going to line a baking sheet here with my silicone mat. Now in the bowl, I'm going to add all my dry ingredients. I'm not going to tell you what's in this because you have to pre-order the cookbook and get the recipe yourself. I'm not sponsored by Lauren Toyota in any stretch, but I do want to make sure that she's getting value for her amazing recipes. But basically it's sugar and butter, and you're just going to use a hand mixer and blend until it's kind of creamy. And as you can see, it's taken me quite some time to get it nice and creamy, but it is worth it. Then you're going to add your other dry ingredients and just blend again to combine. This recipe does call for some flour. You could probably use a gluten-free flour if you don't eat gluten. I have yet to try that, so let me know if you do give that a go and let me know what you think. So the dough will form a nice big ball and pull away from the sides of the bowl easily. You're gonna take a cookie spoon and you're just gonna measure out equal portions. And as you can tell, I'm rolling it in some sugar. You can use either brown sugar or white sugar, and then put them on the baking sheet. Now I'm making the browned butter, so I'm just using some extra of the Earth Balance vegan butter and just melting it on the stove until it gets kind of frothy and brown. You gotta stir frequently so it doesn't burn at the bottom. And then you're gonna pour it in a bowl with some icing sugar. And this is gonna be kind of the frosting for the cookies. I've got a little bit left of maple extract. I think it asks for a teaspoon, but I think I just have a splash left, so I'm using that. And then look at that thick icing. I'm gonna separate the cookies. I probably should have put them on 2 sheets because they do spread out quite a bit, as you can tell, and they're really soft. So be careful when you pull them apart because a couple broke on me. And then you're just gonna drizzle it with the icing. You could probably do it in a better fashion than me. I just went for it, a la Pablo Picasso. Guys, you have to make these cookies. I'm gonna put the link for the ebook in my description. They are incredible. I have to give these away to all my friends now, so I don't eat them all.